The cardiac surgeon's hand stilled over the consent form, his dark eyes meeting hers with an intensity that made Sophie Morrison's breath catch. "Ms. Morrison, your son needs this surgery today, and you're refusing because of a $15,000 deductible." Sophie held her 4-year-old son closer, feeling Liam's feverish weight against her chest, his too fast heartbeat fluttering like a trapped bird. "I'll find another way. A payment plan. Something." Dr. James Shin leaned forward. "There is no other way. The hole in his heart is critical. We're talking hours, not days. Then I'll sign for the surgery and figure out the money after." Her voice cracked. "I just can't accept charity from strangers." 8 hours earlier, Sophie's shift at Riverside Diner had started at 5 a.m. By noon, she'd served 93 customers, smiled through 14 comments about being too young for a kid, and earned $67 in tips that would cover exactly half of this week's groceries. Liam sat in the corner booth, coloring quietly. At 4 years old, he'd learned to be invisible during her shifts, a skill no child should master. His little face was pale, dark circles under eyes too big for his small features. He'd been tired for weeks, falling asleep at odd times, complaining his chest hurt. Sophie had taken him to the free clinic twice. "Probably a virus," they'd said. "Rest and fluids." But this morning, he'd collapsed getting out of bed. She'd called 911 from the bathroom, voice shaking, while Liam lay on their apartment floor struggling to breathe. The ambulance ride was a blur of sirens and her son's small hand gripping hers. "Mommy, it hurts." "I know, baby. I know." Now, St. Catherine's emergency room hummed with controlled chaos. A resident had examined Liam, ordered tests, then disappeared. Sophie sat in a plastic chair, medical bills from last year's ear infection still unpaid on her credit card, and watched monitors track her son's failing heart. She was 26. Dental hygienist degree abandoned when she got pregnant senior year. Father long gone. A boy, really, who'd loved her until the positive test, then evaporated like morning fog. She worked the diner, weekends at Target, edited blog posts remotely when Liam slept. Last month's rent had been 3 days late. This month's would be worse. The attending cardiologist arrived at 2 p.m., Dr. Chun, according to his badge. Younger than expected, maybe 35, with skilled hands and an unsettling directness. "Your son has a ventricular septal defect, a hole in the wall separating his heart's chambers. It's significant and deteriorating. He needs surgery immediately." The world tilted. "How much?" "With insurance, your deductible is $15,000. The full procedure is $180,000. Sophie heard the number from underwater. $15,000. She had $340 in checking. The hospital required half up front. "I can't afford that." Dr. Chen's expression softened fractionally. "There are assistance programs. How long do those take?" "Weeks. Sometimes months." He paused. "Your son doesn't have that time." Sophie looked at Liam, now sedated and frighteningly still, his chest rising and falling with mechanical rhythm. She'd done everything right, worked constantly, sacrificed everything, loved him fiercely. And it wasn't enough. "What happens if I don't do the surgery?" "Ms. Morrison, tell me." Dr. Chen's jaw tightened. "His heart will fail. Maybe tonight. Maybe next week. But it will fail." Sophie pressed her fist against her mouth, holding back the scream. A knock interrupted. A man entered, tall, expensive suit despite the hospital setting, silver at his temples though he couldn't be 40. Handsome in that unreachable way of man who'd never counted grocery money. "Dr. Chun, sorry to interrupt. I'm Marcus Reid, hospital board. I happen to be reviewing today's critical cases." His voice was smooth, controlled. "Ms. Morrison, I understand there's a financial concern preventing your son's treatment?" Sophie's spine straightened. "That's private. Of course. But the hospital has discretionary funds for exactly these situations. I can authorize full coverage of your deductible. Immediately." The offer hung in the air like a trap. "Why?" Sophie's voice was flat. Marcus Reid smiled slightly. "Because 4-year-olds shouldn't die from bureaucracy. You don't know me. You don't know my son. I know he needs help. I can provide it. That's enough." Dr. Shin watched them both with an unreadable expression. Sophie stood, Liam's small hand in hers. "Thank you, Mr. Reid, but no, I don't take handouts. I'll find another way." "There is no other way," Dr. Chen said quietly. "Please, think about Liam. I am thinking about Liam. Her voice broke. He's going to grow up watching me work myself to death already. I won't teach him we survive by begging from rich strangers. Marcus Reid stepped closer, and Sophie saw something shift in his eyes, something raw beneath the polish. Ms. Morrison, I'm not a stranger offering charity. I'm someone who understands what it means to watch your child suffer because of money. His voice dropped. Let me help. No. She turned to Dr. Chun. I'll sign for the surgery. Bill me. Sue me. I don't care. Just save my son. Dr. Chun nodded slowly. I'll prep the OR. As he left, Marcus Reid remained. You're making this harder than it needs to be. I'm making it honest. Sophie met his gaze. We're done here. But she felt his eyes on her as the nurses wheeled Liam away, felt the weight of refused help settling like stones in her chest. The surgery took 6 hours. Sophie sat in the waiting room, alone, watching families come and go with their support systems and casseroles, in comfortable assumption that love plus money equaled survival. At hour 4, Marcus Reid appeared with coffee. I don't want. It's coffee, not a bribe. You've been here since morning. He sat 2 chairs away, careful distance. And before you ask, I'm not here as the board. I'm here as someone who can't stop thinking about a mother choosing pride over practicality. It's not pride. It's principle. What principle? That suffering nobly is better than accepting help. Sophie turned on him. You have no idea what my life looks like. People like you. You swoop in, write checks, feel good about yourselves, then disappear. Meanwhile, I'm still working 3 jobs, still choosing between groceries and electricity, still teaching my son that we're one catastrophe from homelessness. Your money doesn't fix that. It just delays the inevitable. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. You're right. I don't know your life. But I know what it's like to feel helpless while someone you love suffers. Something in his tone made her pause. Who? My daughter. Leukemia, diagnosed at 5. We had the best doctors, unlimited resources, and it still almost killed her. His voice roughened. Watching her hurt, knowing money couldn't actually save her, it broke something in me. Made me realize wealth's just an illusion of control. Sophie's anger deflated slightly. Is she okay? She's 12 now. Healthy. Lucky. He met her eyes. But those years taught me that when someone offers help, it's not always about power. Sometimes it's about trying to fix what they couldn't fix before. I still can't accept $15,000 from you. What if it's not for me? What if the hospital has a genuine assistance fund that I happen to manage, and your case qualifies? He leaned forward. Let me do my job, Ms. Morrison. Let me help allocate resources to families in crisis. You're not special. You're just one of many. Does that make it easier? It didn't. But Sophie was so tired, and Liam was in surgery, and she couldn't think past the next breath. I'll pay it back. There's nothing to pay back. It's not a loan. Then I'll donate to the fund. Eventually. When I can. Marcus smiled faintly. Deal. Dr. Chun emerged at 9 p.m., still in surgical scrubs. The repair was successful. Liam's heart is stable. He'll need monitoring, but the prognosis is excellent. Sophie's legs gave out. Marcus caught her elbow, steadied her, let go immediately. Can I see him? Soon. Recovery's getting him settled. Dr. Chin glanced between them. Ms. Morrison, Liam will need follow-up care. Medications, cardiology appointments. I want to make sure you have support in place. I'll handle it. I know you will. But you don't have to handle it alone. He laughed, diplomatic and knowing. Marcus stood. I should go? I'm glad Liam's okay. Wait. Sophie forced the words out. Thank you. For the fund. For staying. You're welcome. He turned to leave, then paused. Ms. Morrison? Pride's not a bad thing. But sometimes letting people help isn't weakness. It's wisdom. He left before she could respond. Sophie saw Liam at 10 p.m. Finally, her beautiful boy hooked to machines, but breathing steadily, color returning to his cheeks. She sat beside his bed, holding his small hand, and cried, relief and terror and exhaustion pouring out in silent sobs. Mommy. Liam's eyes fluttered open, unfocused but aware. I'm here, baby. I'm right here. My chest doesn't hurt anymore. I know. The doctors fixed it. You're going to be okay. Can we go home? Soon. You need to rest here first. He drifted back to sleep. Sophie watched him, memorizing this moment. Her son alive, saved by medicine she couldn't afford and money she hadn't earned. The shame of it competed with gratitude. Over the next 3 days, Marcus Reid appeared regularly. Not intrusively, He'd bring coffee, ask how Liam was doing, leave quickly. On day 2, he brought a tablet loaded with children's movies. On day 3, a soft blanket because Sophie kept shivering in the cold hospital. You don't have to do this, she told him. I know, but my daughter's at soccer practice, and I have free time. He smiled. Besides, Liam likes the movies. Consider it market research for what 12-year-olds find uncool. Despite herself, Sophie laughed. On discharge day, Dr. Chin reviewed care instructions. Medications twice daily, cardiology follow-up in 2 weeks, activity restrictions for 6 weeks. Questions. How much are the medications? Covered under the assistance fund, Marcus said from the doorway. Both Sophie and Dr. Chin turned. Marcus held up his hands. Before you argue, it's standard protocol for fund recipients. 6 months of medication coverage. Sophie wanted to fight, but Liam was drawing pictures beside her, healthy and oblivious, and she was so tired of fighting. Thank you, she whispered. That evening, as she packed Liam's things, Marcus knocked softly. Can we talk? Privately. They stepped into the hallway. Marcus looked uncharacteristically uncertain. I have a proposition. Hear me out before you refuse. He took a breath. My company needs a communications coordinator. It's entry-level but salaried, $52,000 annually, full benefits, normal hours. You'd be perfect for it. I don't have the qualifications. You edit blog posts remotely while working 2 service jobs and raising a son. You're overqualified. His gray eyes were steady. This isn't charity. It's employment. You'd earn it, but it would give you stability. Time with Liam. Health insurance. Sophie's throat tightened. Why are you doing this? Because I see you, Sophie. See how hard you work, how much you love your son, how you're drowning despite doing everything right. And I can throw you a rope. Not because you're weak, because the system's broken and you deserve better. I don't need saving. I know. You need partnership. Support. A job that pays fairly. He stepped closer. I'm offering employment, nothing else. Take the interview or don't. But stop punishing yourself for needing help that should have been available all along. Sophie looked at Liam through the doorway, her miracle boy coloring with crayons Marcus had brought. Looked at this impossible man who'd appeared in her crisis and kept appearing, persistent and careful and genuinely kind. One interview, she said finally. Marcus smiled, real warmth transforming his face. Monday, 10 a.m. I'll be there. The interview was professional, thorough, and surprisingly rigorous. Marcus's HR director asked pointed questions about writing samples, crisis management, social media strategy. Sophie answered honestly, drawing on years of juggling impossible schedules and making something from nothing. She got the job on merit. Started the following Monday. The salary felt like wealth, groceries without calculation, rent paid early, a savings account she actually contributed to. Liam thrived. His color returned, energy boundless. Sophie worked normal hours, picked him up from preschool herself, cooked dinner instead of reheating whatever was fastest. They went to the park, read books, built a life that felt sustainable. Marcus kept careful distance professionally, but personally, he found reasons to intersect. Company events where he'd ask about Liam's progress, coffee runs where he'd remember she took it black with 1 sugar, small kindnesses that felt like friendship. 3 months in, Liam had his follow-up cardiology appointment. Dr. Chun beamed at the results. Perfect. Complete healing. He's a normal, healthy 4-year-old. He looked at Sophie. You did good, Mon. Sophie cried in the parking lot, relief and joy and the weight of constant fear finally lifting. Her phone rang. Marcus. Hey. Dr. Chun messaged the fund donors with Liam's results. I wanted to say congratulations. Thank you. For everything. The fund, the job, her voice broke. You saved us. You saved yourself. I just opened a door. A pause. Sophie, can I ask you something? Of course. Would you have dinner with me? Not as your employer. I'll recuse myself from anything HR related. As someone who'd like to know you better. Sophie's heart stuttered. Marcus, I have a 4-year-old. My life is chaotic. I'm broke. Well, less broke now, but still. I come with complications. I have a 12-year-old who survived cancer and has strong opinions about everything. I understand complications. His voice softened. I'm not asking for perfect. I'm asking for a chance. Sophie thought about the man who'd stayed in a hospital waiting room for a stranger's surgery, who'd offered employment, not charity, who'd seen her at her worst and responded with dignity, not pity. Saturday, 7 p.m. Nothing fancy. I'll pick you up. Saturday arrived. Marcus showed up in jeans and a sweater, holding flowers, daisies, cheerful and unpretentious. Liam answered the door, studying this tall stranger seriously. Are you my mom's friend? I'd like to be. Is that okay with you? Liam considered. Do you like dinosaurs? Absolutely. Velociraptors are underrated. Okay. You can take my mom to dinner. Sophie laughed, equal parts mortified and charmed. They went to a small Italian restaurant. No reservations, no fuss. Talked for hours about his daughter Emma, Liam's dinosaur obsession, whether pineapple belonged on pizza. Marcus asked about her abandoned dental hygienist degree. Sophie admitted she'd always wanted to finish. You could, Marcus said. Company has education reimbursement. If you want it. That feels like too much. It's a standard benefit. Emma wants to be a marine biologist. I'm not paying for her degree out of charity. I'm investing in her future. Same principle. Sophie let herself imagine it. Finishing school. Career options. Stability built on her own credentials. I'll think about it. When he drove her home, Marcus walked her to the door, but didn't presume more. Can I see you again? Yes, Sophie said, surprising herself with certainty. The months that followed were careful and genuine. Marcus met Liam officially, building block towers and reading dinosaur books, and never once trying to replace the father who never existed. Emma met them too, a brilliant 12-year-old who decided Liam was an acceptable human for a 4-year-old and took him under her wing. At 6 months, Sophie enrolled in night classes. Marcus watched Liam during her Tuesday seminars, the two of them developing elaborate dinosaur scenarios involving improbable physics. At 8 months, Marcus took her to the park where they'd first talked beyond the hospital. Liam played on the swings while they sat on a bench. Sophie, I need to tell you something. Her stomach dropped. Okay. That first day at the hospital, I didn't happen to be reviewing cases. Dr. Chen called me. Said a mother was refusing treatment for financial reasons, and did the fund cover it? He looked at her. I came because I was curious about someone who'd choose pride over practicality. Then I met you, and I saw someone choosing dignity, teaching her son that they didn't survive by surrender. You lied to me? I omitted. But I need you to know the whole truth. He took her hand. I fell in love with you that day, watching you fight for your son while refusing to compromise your principles. I've spent 8 months trying to deserve you. Sophie's breath caught. Marcus, I'm not asking you to feel the same way, but I'm asking for the chance to keep building this. You, me, Liam, Emma. A family made from choice, not obligation. She looked at Liam, laughing on the swings, healthy and whole. Looked at Marcus, this impossible man who'd appeared in her darkest moment and stayed through every complicated day since. I love you too, she whispered. I've been terrified to say it. Terrified you'd realize we're too much work. You're not work. You're the best thing that's happened to me since Emma. He cupped her face gently. Sophie Morrison, I know this is fast, but I also know exactly what I want. Let me be in Liam's life. Not as a replacement, as someone who loves him because he's yours. Let me be his father, if you'll have me. Sophie kissed him, soft and sure and full of yes. They married 8 months later, small ceremony, both kids as witnesses. Emma stood as Sophie's maid of honor. Liam carried rings in a dinosaur-shaped box, immensely proud. Sophie finished her degree at 29, started her own practice at 30. Marcus expanded his foundation, helping more families navigate impossible medical costs. Liam grew up healthy, smart, loved fiercely by 3 parents, Sophie, Marcus, and Emma, who never let anyone suggest a stepsister wasn't a real sister. On Liam's 10th birthday, Sophie found Marcus in their home office, looking at photos from that first hospital stay. What are you thinking about? The day you refused my help. How close we came to never happening because of your stubborn pride. He smiled. Best rejection of my life. Sophie wrapped her arms around him. You didn't give up. Neither did you. That's why we work. Through the window, Liam and Emma played soccer in the yard, their laughter bright and uncomplicated. A family built from crisis and choice, from refusal and persistence, from a moment when pride met compassion and both sides learned to bend. Sophie had been right that day in the hospital. She didn't need saving, but she'd learned something better. Accepting help wasn't surrender. Sometimes it was the beginning of something true.